Can't divorce, and that's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like physically abusive.
You got to endure. People are too.
You want to stick into
wanna
the relationship.
People are just.
See,
I mean, look,
people
I'm gonna be
nowadays
honest.
are just.
For anyone that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay,
Endure.
I'll tell
Would
you
they
what.
give up?
So you heard it here first. If you are a female and you are getting abused by your significant other, just simply stay in that relationship and everything's going to be okay. Endure. If he's giving you black eyes, just endure. It's fine. It's going to be okay. No, it really not. This is some of the dumbest advice I've seen in a long time. You know, we like to have discussions on some bullshit that we've heard throughout our days scrolling on the internet. I saw this clip on Reddit, and then I was like, let's find the extended version of this. You know, you got to find an extended clip. So we're going to go through the extended version of this video. Let me give you guys my thoughts and opinions on it. And my initial thoughts just by watching the clip was this is absolutely the wrong idea to have. If you are in a relationship with somebody, a relationship, married, whatever, if they're abusing you, you need to get out. We've seen too many cases where people who was like, well, I'm gonna just stay in the relationship and it's gonna be okay, and then they end up not being here anymore with us because they stayed in a relationship they should have gotten out of a long time ago. All right, but let's see exactly the argument here. Let's see exactly what they're talking about. Roll the video.
I feel like a lot of times when people use this rhetoric, what they sometimes paint this false picture that it's okay for people to stay together if it means not being a single mother household, even if the situation, the relationship is super toxic, abusive, just not healthy. So I agree, single parent, single mother households are horrible. Completely agree with that. But I do think they're better than staying with somebody if he's being abusive to you. If he's hitting you, you should not raise your child in that environment. You should get your child out of there because that person is being a danger to your family, to you, and to your child. So I agree
with that.
Yeah.
But that is still an anomaly. I mean, like we mentioned earlier, this is a true statistic.
Extreme anomaly.
80% of couples can recover from that in 5 years, and I think it's fundamentally selfish, and you can tell because...
So what my guy here is telling you is that if you're getting abused, stay in that relationship for about 5 years, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. Let them beat you up for like 5 years, and then, hey, it's going to be okay. They're going to recover and then grow up to, build healthy families. They're going to build well-raised children, and those children are going to go on to be astronauts, lawyers, doctors, and some of the most wealthy people we have ever seen in this day and age. They're not going to continue this cycle of abusing and simply putting their hands on their significant others because they grew up, watching their parents either get abused or do the abusing.
The type of people who say that, they're like, well, I just wasn't happy, so it's better for the child. It's absolutely not. It's not better for the child.
Really
but they think that because they're so prideful, they don't want to address whatever they're doing wrong, and their partner is probably, because water seeks its own level, probably just as prideful and narcissistic and doesn't want to address what's wrong and fix themselves. And so they think, well, I'm not happy, so the child must really not be happy. It destroys, especially young boys, if they don't have their father in the household, they're not socialized properly. Like, they're literally screwed for the rest of their lives. Daughters, they don't, it's not as effective to them. I mean, they get a little bit more promiscuous with the guys they date, but in terms of literally just derailing someone's trajectory in life, young girls can more or less recover pretty well, but boys are if their dad's not
I just wanted to say, as someone who's studying law, I take a lot of criminology classes, and it is true that men raised in single mother households end up becoming criminals because of the lack of the father figure in their life.
The concept in which they are talking is true. What they're saying is true. I believe that two-parent households do raise the best kids. Not saying that somebody who grew up in a one-parent household cannot grow up to be the best person in the world, and not saying that somebody who is in a two-parent household is going to absolutely grow up and be the best person in the world. But the conversation is, if somebody's in an abusive relationship, should they stay? I think what they're trying to put out right now is just disingenuous. This is not what the conversation is supposed to be about. That person should absolutely get out of that relationship.
I just wanted to see an honest answer on this one. If there's someone that's very, very young, might be really religious and values marriage a lot, and goes into a marriage and has kids when they're 18, 19, 20, and then a year into the relationship, it gets really, really abusive.
From who?
From both.
This is so rare.
Anyone
so
really.
Rare.
I mean, it happens.
Go on.
My point is, I'm just, even though it might be rare from what you guys think,
it is.
If it would happen, what would you recommend for those people to do? Would they divorce, or do you want them to keep going in the relationship?
Keep going.
You can't divorce. I mean, that's not a real thing. You can like separate. See, his Catholic background shines through. He knows. You can separate, but you can't actually divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like physically abusive.
You got to endure. People are too.
You want to stick in the
wanna
relationship.
People are just.
See, I mean, look,
people
I'm gonna be
nowadays
honest.
are just. Everybody quits. Everybody gives up. It's too hard. I'm this XYZ. This is why I'm special, so I can fuck up this entire situation based upon me being special. And the reality is, people just haven't learned to endure. There have been hard times in relationship. I'm sure you guys had hard times in relationship. Any relationship has hard times, and it
Okay.
is what it is. You need to push through, and you need
What if
to
the
endure.
kid-
I have to laugh because this is some of the most ridiculous stuff that I have ever heard in my life. So your concept of enduring in a relationship is to be the punching bag for another individual. This is the craziest thing I've heard. That's why I had to talk about it. It is so hilarious that these people actually believe this is viable advice. Let me tell you a little something. Enduring in a relationship is not what he's talking about. That's being dumb. Enduring in a relationship is like, if, for example, if your husband was to come home right now and say they have massive layoffs and I was a part of the crew that got laid off, and now y'all are having to, go through the savings a little bit and staying with your man while he is trying to get himself back on his feet. Stand with your wife through her sickness. If she come home one day and say that the doctor says she's been diagnosed with cancer or diagnosed with some kind of illness, and you're kind of having to take care of her while she's doing that, taking her to her appointments, things like that. We're talking about men and women here, all right? Because these things can go both ways all the time. And the thing about this entire situation is the information and what they're telling, like what they're spewing on this podcast right now, literally will get you killed. It will get you killed. Talking about raising a family. What family you gonna raise if you ain't here no more? You know what I'm saying? But let's keep rolling.
Because
It's
we're in
getting
this.
abused.
Hold on. Because we're in this situation now, like where everybody's just creating this like super nuanced, like 1% example of like, well, what if the kid's transgender, black, and abused, and he's a Black Lives Matter supporter? Like, cool. Okay, I get like that one.
No, but I'm
Minute
asking
situation.
for anyone that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay, here's-
Endure.
I'll tell
Would
you
they
what.
give up
I'll tell you what
divorce?
I would
I
do.
don't- that's-
I'll tell you what.
Endure.
I'll tell you what
Okay.
I would do. If my daughter was in a relationship with a guy and she gets married to him and he starts abusing her a
Kill the
year
guy.
into it, I'm gonna be showing up on their doorstep and teaching him some lessons.
Exactly.
That's what I would do. I also would
but,
not if I didn't have the capacity to do that for some reason, I don't know. I wouldn't want my daughter in that situation, quite frankly. And I understand the argument to endure because I have people close to me who grew up in abusive households and it lasted for periods of time and it was a phase and they endured through it and they ended up raising healthy, successful families to an extent.
So
they
you
weren't the
would say
healthiest
that-
families.
Look at Destiny's face. Oh, bruh. Destiny is like, Destiny is like saying bullshit in his head like right now. Like, this is hilarious, bro.
To stick in those relationships that might be abusive to everyone involved and a child if there's a
I'm
child
not
involved.
saying like,
who
hey,
is-
stick
that's
in
an
the relationship and get the shit beat out of you by
No,
a
no, no,
husband.
you're saying
I'm
yours
not.
is an
example.
extreme.
I think
I'm
you
just,
guys-
I'm just asking you what you believe.
I'm
in
just
this one
telling you-
specific thing.
I'm
Even
not
if it's a
telling
small
you-
extreme thing, I'm just asking you what you think if you should stick in that relationship or not.
It is such an extreme example that I can't give a prescription for what other people should do. There is an element of
How do you guys feel about
value.
third-
Hold on. There is an element of value in what he's saying, but all I can tell you is what I would do
How do you
as,
guys feel
as a
about? Do you
father
guys
of
all
a
have
daughter in a
opinions about
situation like
Do
that.
you have opinions about third trimester abortion?
It's
Yes.
terrible.
Listen,
It's
Okay,
terrible.
look at how quickly you can debate it. Do you know how
Terrible.
rare third trimester abortions are? They're also really
They
rare.
are.
But you immediately had a visceral reaction to that,
Yeah.
right? There are households where parents are abusive to children. Like, that's not like an unfathomable thing. But for you to have that immediate visceral reaction to a type of abortion, that's so incredibly rare. But then when it's
I
like,
mean, we're
well, could you
talking
have-
about like a guy like getting drunk and like beating
have to be
his
getting
wife
drunk.
occasionally versus like somebody puncturing a woman's stomach with a needle and injecting euthanasia into the baby's eye socket.
Why you even had to make that comparison, my guy? All you had to do was reply with, no, I don't believe in third trimester abortion. Hell no. And no, I don't believe that a woman or a man should stay in a abusive relationship. Hell no. It's just that simple. That's all Destiny was saying there.
I'm just
like a
saying, all I'm
grisly,
saying is
terrible
that
thing.
third trimester
And it's
abortion
murder.
is incredibly rare. But you have a visceral immediate reaction to that. But to hypothesize on could there
But
possibly
well,
be
okay,
a child?
so
Yeah.
let me ask you guys. In the Catholic Church, I know that there's like annulments for marriages and stuff. Are there
That
no?
was a mistake.
Are there no exceptions for like if a guy is beating his wife constantly?
No, there are, but now
Or a woman could as well, right?
Hold on.
Well, there's
Yes,
also a
she could, but-
distinction drawn between
If a woman's beating a dude,
legal-
that guy-
Hold on, guys.
a civil divorce, a legal divorce, and an actual divorce of a marriage. There's a distinction drawn in the Catholic Church where it's excusable to get a divorce in the legal sense.
I mean, look, I'll say this. I know there's like the Christian Catholic position and all that kind of stuff. If a woman is in a situation where she's getting the shit beat out of her by her husband and like he might kill her, yeah, she should leave the marriage, in my opinion.
But statistically, like, that's not what it is. It's kind of like with the abortion anomaly. That's not like the majority of abortions. So let's like talk about what actually happens. And what actually happens when people are getting divorced isn't these types of scenarios. It's like literally initiated.
What you guys are witnessing here is complete diversion. He is trying to go another direction and throw some facts in, but try to lessen the actual topic at hand here. He's kind of going like this. You need to be traveling straight. Let's just attack the question right on his head. Instead, he's going off of the path here. I don't understand why. It's a simple question. It's very simple, but
You'll probably know the stat between 2/3 and 80% of the time by women. And the plurality of that reason is they feel unfulfilled. They want a new chapter in their life. It's like the eat, pray, love phenomenon. That should be outlawed. You legally actually should not be able to do that.
Yeah,
Also,
but then
in
again, I'm going to say the exact same
56%.
thing I said before. Finish.
Sorry, 56% of the time with divorces, one or both spouses cite pornography as one of the
Real.
reasons why their relationship has to come to an end, an irreconcilable difference.
I'm
What's
gonna-
the
can I-
what's
I
the
will say
percent?
real
Hold
quick.
on. What's the percent of not abortions, divorces that are initiated by women, Brian?
78.
80%.
78.
80%.
80%. And what percentage of those women have college degrees?
Well, it jumps to 90% if they're college educated.
Real.
Okay,
I
but
wanna-
you
I
guys
wanna-
are
Wait,
drawing-
hold on. Wait, hold on. You guys misquote that all the time. The percentage of divorces by women with college degrees is lower as they have more education. But of the women that have college degrees, when they have divorces, there's a higher percentage. So just to be clear, you're better off marrying a woman with a college degree than not, because those marriages have a higher success rate. But when divorces happen, they have a higher. You guys, I hear that stat finagled a lot on these shows, but.
They
Can
are
I ask-
extreme.
Oh, I
wanna ask
agree- I
another-
agree with that,
I want to ask
but-
like one more scenario, okay?
Please.
What about if two people get married, they have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating? Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely.
Crucifixion.
They should
Yeah.
divorce then?
Jesus himself
You don't
said.
think
But it wasn't
Jesus-
illegal.
hold on.
Adultery.
Jesus
And you
himself
could like
said.
work things through, right?
Jesus himself said in cases of adultery, divorce is
So you think that
permissible.
divorce is worse than physical abuse?
No,
For the
cheating.
children?
Or cheating, sorry. You think that
Cheating is
cheating
worse
is worse
than
than
physical
physical
abuse.
abuse?
For the
Sorry.
children, yes.
for the children, yes. What? Oh my God. You know, it's crazy to me the amount. It's crazy the amount of effort, the mountains that people will climb in order to paint their narrative and allow their beliefs to be fulfilled, man. It's crazy. And these shows, the podcasts, man, it's just straight entertainment at this point. It's not to actually inform or engage in actual conversation. It's just to promote whatever way they have of thinking, and without actually coming to any kind of middle ground at all. And so, look, both are wrong. Which one is worse for the kids? Both. It just depends on which way you look at it. And that is the correct answer, in my opinion. You may disagree, but the thing about it is, if a husband or a wife cheats, the child may or may not see it, and the child may or may not ever know until or unless another one like tells the child, like informs the child what happened. But physical abuse, you can make the argument that the child may see a hit to the face or something like that, absorb that material, and then they might do it themselves later on down the line to whoever they choose to be their significant other. So both are wrong. I mean, wow, we're comparing apples to oranges here and trying to say that, well, damn, apples are just better. No, oranges are better. They're both are fruits, bro. What argument are we making here? I don't understand. I don't understand, man. This is wild. And I like how earlier, as soon as they brought up cheating, it was quick. It was a quick response. It was like, man, oh yeah, man. If she cheats, if she's a slut, she gotta go. She gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But if a woman was to say, well, he's an abuser, he gotta go. It's like, well, no, you should sit there and get your ass beat. What? It makes no sense. Now, the guy who was in the middle, I think he had like the black button down. He did eventually come out and say, he said, well, if she just getting beat until the point where it looked like she might die, then she need to get out that relationship. But who's to say that the first time may not, like, who's to say that the first time is not the last time? Like, it might just be that. It might be over with right then. Like, who's to say that? So, in my honest opinion, if you're in a relationship that first time that it gets abusive, you may need to get up out of there. That's not a crazy thing to say. That's not crazy to say. Who's to say it's not going to happen again? The people who stay in these relationships believing that, oh, he's going to change are usually the ones that are not here to even say anything anymore because they stayed in a relationship a day too late. All right? And so I'm just saying this, to me, this conversation was funny. It just continues to prove that these podcasts just push whatever they want and without. I've seen a few podcasts that eventually sometimes people come to middle grounds, but not in this case, not in this case. But oh, this was an interesting conversation to say the least. But it's some more from this particular podcast that I do want to cover. And so I will do that later on throughout the week or so. But let me know what y'all think about this situation down below in the comment section, man. I'll see you in the next video.